So I'm trying to cut down a log and was trying to figure out a way to do it because I can cut fairly straight, but down the whole log straight enough I can plane. I wasn't sure how to do that. So what I decided to come up with was put some threaded rods on here and double nut the threaded rod on to a piece of scrap plywood and double nut it here. Now I have to kind of give a disclaimer. Nowhere in the Husqvarna manual does it say this is a good idea. And I'm not 100% sure it is a good idea, so I can't recommend anyone do this. It's just the method I use to try to solve the problem of how do I cut a straight line down a log of cedar. But the plan is to cut down there. When I get about halfway, I have some felling wedges. I'm going to pound those in to keep the log separated so it doesn't bind on my chainsaw. So I'll give it a shot and I'll see if it works. Let's see if this works. Well, it kind of worked. I'm quickly losing daylight, but I'll show you what I found. It's not looking good for making charcuterie boards. So, have a bunch of holes. All this is kind of knotted and soft, but then I have a nice big crack. It's running all the way down here. So it would only be this end, and that's maybe 24 inches I could get a board out of. And then this end looks pretty good up until the crack that starts right here, which all of this is pretty loose and has split off. So you can kind of see it wouldn't make the best board. And by the time I plane down to get to some meat, there wouldn't be much left. And then up here, all of that would kind of need to come out or be cleaned up quite a bit. So I'll see what I can do with these. I'll probably cut them into smaller pieces. Cutting a big long board was more challenging than what I thought, and it's heating up the saw a little bit. So I'll probably try it again next weekend and try to avoid some of these cracks and see what I can come up with. Well, it's a week after the initial cut, and I'm glad I thought about it for a little while because even though this crack is pretty big, I'm pretty sure I can clean the crack out, put some glue in there, clamp it together, and glue it together. So I'm going to try that. So I've got my chainsaw set up to be 3 inches based on my guide, and I will start the cuts and I'll see if this works and if I can glue those cracks back up together. Well, I'd say that worked. Now on to cutting it to a manageable piece and then planing it. All right, I have Emma helping me, and she's going to run the planer and plane this through. So this is the first side. What I'm planning on doing is planing the top off to remove this piece and get it flat down here. And at least on my planer, you have the lock right there, and then you turn this clockwise to drop it.
Fun.
So you ready to try it, Emma?
Sure.
So while it's pretty rough like this, I want you to only give it a half of a turn. as it starts cutting off more and more of the board on the top, then we're going to give it only 1/4 of a turn. So I gave it a 1/2 of a turn. We'll hit the lock. We'll run it through. So why don't you pop those on to protect your ears? And you're going to have to push through and keep it centered on this opening. Sound good? All right, let me grab my safety glasses. Okay. I don't know if it shows up or not, but we actually planed off quite a bit, more than what I was thinking originally. But it makes it a little bit lighter, and kind of planed it until this backside looks the way I want. I'll do a little bit of gluing here and fixing on that and pull out these little loose pieces, and then we'll sand it. And after it's sanded, then we will put a finish on it. What do you say, kiddo?
Fun.
All right, well, let's get to cleaning this up and sanding, and then we'll be ready. Okay, well, I got cleaned up because I was kind of dirty, but now we're ready to finish it. The finish we're putting on is tried and true. It's a linseed oil and beeswax mixture, and it's not boiled linseed oil. Boiled linseed oil is actually toxic. You don't want to use that, but it's regular linseed oil. And it's the finish I put on my rolling pins, and it leaves a nice finish on there. You can get a good shine out of it, and it makes a harder finish, which is why I like it rather than a butcher's block oil. So I'll show you how we're going to put it on, Imogen. We'll get our rag, and let's get a dab of this.
Whoa.
Yeah, see, it's pretty thick.
It's very bright.
Mm-hmm. And then just you rub it on.
Fun.
So here you go.
Bloop. This is actually quite satisfying, but it feels sticky. I don't want to get this on me.
It is a little sticky. It's a polymerized linseed oil with the beeswax in it, and then the beeswax will stay and the linseed oil will kind of evaporate, and that's why you can get a nice shine on the thing. You can use friction to get a good shine. Looks good, kiddo.
Fun. Yay.
Let's give this a wipe off some of these pieces, but why don't you hold up the board and show everybody what it looks like?
There's this side, and then there's This side.
So you think they'll like it?
Yeah.
Nice and light, easy for a charcuterie board.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded up with nice heavy things.
Let's hope Grandma doesn't put it in the top pantry shelf.
Yeah. So this is the charcuterie board, and we'll let this finish dry on it, and then we will ship it off for Merry Christmas for my parents.